Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hi. Right here. It's a whole new world. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming out to the SPECTRA reading series, National Poetry Month. Local. Yes, you can whistle, clap, all of those things. Feel free to express yourself. Yeah, I'm also excited. I'm not going to clap on stage because that looks like you're clapping for yourself, and that's weird and not like a cool thing to do. Yeah, my name is Ryan Collins. I'm the executive director of the Midwest Writing Center, which is just right over yonder, in the Rock Island Public Library. We're super excited to be here with you tonight in this beautiful, beautiful space. Yes, you definitely cheer for that. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Ian, for having us. Love you guys. This is your first time here. Welcome. If you haven't been here since it became even more beautiful than the beautiful it already was, just drink it in. I still am. I've been here a bunch of times for shows and things like that. I'm still really taken with like how amazing this place looks. Thank you for having us. I'd like, someone was like, oh, this is the first reading since the pandemic. And we did a reading here in November, but it wasn't this. It was, it's like being in two different places, even though we're in the same place. So yes, we got a bunch of readers tonight. 13 or 14. I'm not going to try to count this list I have in front of me right now. 14. Holy mackerel. But everybody's reading 2 poems. So we asked everybody to read the poem that you contributed to the National Poetry Month thing that we're doing with the Moline Public Library, who's hosting a bunch of these poems and has them up around. And Dead Poets Espresso, who this was kind of, I guess, their idea, or they pitched this to someone on our program committee last year, and so it's been good. It's cool. It's cool to get poetry out in the world. We hope the more that we do this every year that this happens, that we get more poems just out in the world where people can see them and check them out. I know there's all kinds of cool projects that go on for National Poetry Month. If you don't know too much about National Poetry Month, it was started by the Academy of American Poets. I want to say in like 1976, something like that. So people do all kinds of cool projects. I know like there's a like Inside Out Literary Arts in Detroit does like billboards. So they put poems by kids up on billboards like all over the city, which is really cool. Seen them on buses and in subways and stuff like that. Places that have like a lot of mass transit. So like there's a lot of cool projects. Check it out. Check them out on the website. Definitely should subscribe to the Poem a Day project. It's a very cool thing and an awesome way to get a lot of amazing contemporary poetry just in your inbox every day for nothing for the price of your email, I guess. We got some other poetry things going on too, coming up. One real notable thing, some of you may remember Dick Stahl, who was the first poet laureate of the Quad Cities from 2001 to 2003. He taught at Davenport Central for 30 some years. I can't exactly remember how long. Was a really terrific poet, amazing guy. He passed away in February of 2020 from cancer. But while he was going through treatment and everything, he wrote a book documenting his experience from initial diagnosis all the way through to dictating the final 2 poems in the collection. We're publishing that collection. It comes out on June 12th. Pre-orders are up. We're going to do a big live reading with some of his friends, reading from the book and things like that at Augustine, just right up the hill at Augustine at Wallenberg Hall. We'll have more information on that, but if you're interested in getting a copy, come check us out. We got a bunch of our books back there, including the Foster Stahl Chapbook series books that came out, and we got a bunch of newly pressed baby broadsides that were done by the amazing Joseph Lappy at St. Ambrose University. He did sets of 3. Yes, you shouted out. Yes, 100%. He did a series of these 3 broadsides for the 3 readers that participated in a set of readings that we collaborated with St. Ambrose. One of our first reader actually just read. So this is the second time we've introduced you in a week. I kind of just realized that.
Don't you love it?
We should do this more. It's cool. Yeah, it's good. We also, if you know any students out there, 15 to 19-year-old students, some of you may be parents of such people. We do a program called the Unemerging Writers Program. They publish a magazine called the Atlas. We also have copies of recent issues of the Atlas. It's a paid internship program. It runs through June and July. All of the kids get paid. They get to go to our writing conference for free, which is like a $350 registration fee for the whole kit. They get published. They get copies of the magazine. We do readings. We usually do a launch party here. We will be doing a launch party here in August, way away from now. But you know people who might be interested in applying. If you know some talented young kids that are into graphic design, into writing, into just being creative and like making amazing art with other young people, hit us up. Grab an application, hang down by the door. We would love to hear from them. We'd love to read their work. Last thing that we have a bunch of stuff going on. Check us out online at www.mwcqc.org or check us out on the YouTube page. YouTube people, I guess. We got a lot of cool content on there. But our annual Writers Conference is June 23rd through 25th. We'll be here for the faculty reading because they're just the nicest people, and this is just the best place to have a reading around. We're super excited to have Ross Gay. Amazing. Woo! Yes, you can clap and cheer and whoop and anything else that you want. Ross Gay is like one of our best, I think, most important poets right now. Really amazing poet. SASU won the National Book Critics Circle Award a few years back for his book, Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude. He's going to be our keynote speaker. He's also teaching a master class. We got classes of poetry, novel, short fiction, memoir. We do manuscript pitches. We do manuscript critiques, all kinds of cool stuff. You can check it out. We've got more information back there. We can fill you in on all the goodies. And if you just want to get involved with the Midwest Writing Center, we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for committee members. If you're into writing, if you dig stuff like this, come help us do more of it because we want to do as much of it as we can. So come check us out. Cool. Yeah. Well, let's read some poems. Yeah. Cool. Yes, indeed. I agree. So per SPECTRA tradition, since we have all these readers and they're going to be reading so quickly, so I'm going to be making, I don't have bios, so like some people I might try to say like accurate and true things about you, but some of you I don't really know. So like what do you do in lieu of having a bio, especially when there's so many readers and you keep it moving? So I'm going to probably introduce everybody with one sentence bios that are completely fictional and made up. We'll see how actually happens in front of you. And it's not just a theory that was posited before anything falls out of my head. Yeah. But anyway, generally I usually like read a poem first to get everything kicking, and so nobody has to read first because a lot of times people don't want to read first, especially in reading when you got people who are reading for the first time ever, which I think we do tonight, which is very, very, very cool. Yes, those are the people that really I'm realizing how much pink the ink is on this page. So this will be interesting. So I'm going to read a very short poem. Why did I choose this poem? I've never read this poem anywhere before, but I wrote this poem in this room, as I'm wont to do, during the Amulet show that was last October. Highly recommend. Check out Amulet. Super, super duper amazing music. So I wrote this on my notes in my phone while they were playing, because I was just sort of like in that zone. So this is called Observer Effect. The continuous sine wave lifting the pulse of the limbic system into a higher order of being, a tactile wash over the room, and what the room suggests we imagine beyond its walls. If this is heroin music, may our heroine get clean and live. Something in the static echo beckons her back, a chorus summoned through the wires and floorboards until something inside everyone in the room quiets, sinks, sets itself to the heartbeat, or to hear, it sets itself to hear the wind howling through our chests. Yes. Did not stick the landing. Such amazing shows, of which there are many coming up. You should definitely check them out. So good, so much amazing, various mind-blowing music. Let's do some poems. Our first reader tonight, again, that I got to introduce just near a week ago. Emily Kingery recently fought a polar bear and won. Emily Kingery.
No one's going to get a better bio than that. Wish that it were true. All right, so I've got two poems because that was the assignment. I had two poems. Right, I'm going to start with one that is like a non-National Poetry Month display poem, just because I think it'll make a nicer transition from like darker to lighter, and then I can leave you in lightness, right, which is always nice. So this first one is Magnolia. If you want to find it, it is published in Texas Northwest Press, and so you can just Google my name, Magnolia, and it'll probably pop right up for you. So Magnolia. Seasonal. I've been jealous of trees blooming in your view. The saucer magnolia from the front window when we were children. When my blinds opened to the sticky rot of fruit. The sidewalk a pallet for crushed skin and flies all summer, while luxury fell to the lawn for you. That blushing, brazen elegance. Goblets full out before any leaves could hold them or hide them. From what? Only you know. I crept to the buds I could reach in early spring. Fat silver pouches, fur like seals, or house mice that couldn't run from my hands or squeal, say, spare me, before I drove my nail in deep. Felt the soft push of unopenness against my thumb, the rush of a secret death. They dropped like waste, like vermin shaken out from a trap. You're glad I didn't read that one. like vermin shaken out from a trap. No, please go. So this one is called Labor, and this is the one that's on display. Sorry, I thought someone was saying, okay. Labor. It is an easy thing to love the world in spring, to lie in tender grass, each blade an instrument for air to play. To be a girl lost in a simple dream of twirling daisies in her hands, plucking buds of red clover. But the labor of the heart is long in crueler months. The way to spring, a vanishing path, a fickle head of fire blown from the wick. The cold seeps in the bones of winter, a wolf that every heart knocks to be let inside. And yet you grin, outmatching him. Think of how your hair pours light, each strand the gold of sun in our midwinter dark. How your eyes are the blue of lakes when ice begins to thaw. To welcome home the blessed signs of life. The bloom of rippling light after a splash. The cries of birds and the flash of bright feathers in the mirrored sky. Thank you.
Yeah. Do it one more time, Emily. Emily has a really killer chapbook coming out that she might press sometime in the future.
February.
Called Invasives. I've read it. It's very good. You want to check it out. Thank you for getting us going and sticking the landing. Yeah, I just did a reading Tuesday night in Iowa City, and I didn't do what you just did, and I think I just bummed everybody out for like 15 minutes. So I'm trying to do that in my hosting responsibilities tonight. Our next reader once flew around the world in a hot air balloon drawn by sparrows. Please welcome Phoebe Fuller. Phoebe. You do it again.
That's actually true, by the way. I don't know how you know that. My name's Stacey. I'm a first-time reader.
Yeah.
first poem I'm gonna read is the one that I submitted for the poetry month. It is untitled. So here we go. Entering the gates of hell, I recognize too many people. Friends, family, teachers, co-workers. Some who I believed might make it to heaven, their hearts pure and kind. Most I knew would suffer through their trifles and continue their sufferings in hell. It's hard to watch those I once loved fall in the flames and cry for help. But a part of growing up is learning that those we love dearly, who are perfect in our eyes, must exist in a place like this. My second poem is called Dear Mother. You raised me with all of your narcissistic strength, filling my cup half empty, rubbing off on me just enough to be explosive. But after all, I am still me. I still feel the guilt build with every word I say. I remember each remark you gave, one more spark to the bomb of rage inside of me, destined to explode on someone, suddenly, someone undeserving and likely innocent. I remember exploding on anyone nearby. Earlier today, yesterday, last week, last month, every day for the last 17 years. I remember the day I did explode on you. And every day since that day, you have not failed to remind me of what an inconvenience I am to you. Thank you.
Keep going, Phoebe. Keep coming back. You're in the right place. It's that kind of. It always kind of feels like me. This is my first reading. It's so cool. It's like a group meeting, but like without the sad. Like, yeah, we're sharing home, and they can be whatever. Like we're not here to like police your content. That's not what this life is. But thank you very much. And seriously, yeah, like more readings, more poems. Like we love it. Next up, our next reader once laid an entire mile of new interstate pavement in a single day. Please welcome Mike Bales. This is gonna be hard.
That isn't too far from the truth. I was a flagger for construction crews. Thank heavens never on the interstate, so I would have been run over. Usually I say I have a confession. That's a long intro where you're 10 minutes late for work because I had to stop the one-lane road. This is out of my, I've got a couple copies if anyone wants to look. This is out of my book with Suitcase and Bag, places where I worked as a flagger in Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, South Dakota, places I called home, Des Moines area, around here, around Minnesota, where I was a kid. I do want to thank you, Ryan, for this project, and it's always wonderful being around Roz Talks. This is my poem on display, and actually, there's a friend of mine who'd always wish me good luck if I said wish me luck. She'd moved, but I started a new job, and it's very early in the morning. I figured if she was around, she would have gone, good luck. This poem's called Full Moon Morning. A yellow ball of light emerges from its veil of darkness and calls the morning to its side, preceding the sun's full glory. Remembers war spot at its sight and the poet's cry. It gives promise when rising light seeks fullness of light after the moon's westward journey to hide. I answer the call of the full moon morning on a sojourn to renew my life in warm light of memories of those who passed my way. I think about passages and goodbyes, the swell of tides pulled by another body in my darkened world, the melancholy when I move toward another day. I'm going to try to find this one here. I've never read this, but it's intriguing.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, this is when I wasn't involved building an interstate. In Wisconsin, I flagged for just about all the times I was up there, I'd be flagging for utility crews. And we're working along a highway in far northern Wisconsin. And I saw this, the other worker and I, he didn't need us. So we were kind of looking at something on the side of the road, which is an abandoned house. The National Forest scattered through the area is called the Nicolay National Forest, which is amazing. I don't know if it's in it or some other wooded area. And this is called Forest Sweet. Nestled by trees, a house stands alone in an opening off the highway. Saplings sprout in a grassy lane with the children's pool filled with soil under the shadows of pines from which saplings sprout. Flower pots sunk into the ground speak of blooms of another time, while wildlife hides in undergrowth. An open door leads to an empty chamber, except for an abandoned desk. And I can only imagine the stories written and told. A walk across the lot stirs more questions than answers, a wrestling stirring given to a silent moment. While alone I stand, sunlight filtered through a crown of old, shadows cast of lives unknown. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Get up for one more time for Mike. Read like if you're reading, if you've got a book, if you've got something cool that you're doing, you got an event coming up or something like that, like shout that out, like let people know, like so, like you know, if you're interested in this captive audience, people are interested in poetry. So like if you're doing poetry things, like celebrate yourself, Walt Whitman style, and like let us know. And also you're letting the internet know. Hi, the internet, just want to say hi. Just check in, make sure you're there. Are you there? I don't know. It's not a two-way street right now. So anyway, we'll hope so. We'll find it. It'll be there for posterity. Our next reader is the only reader I don't know 100% if they are here or not. So we're just going to find out. Our next reader is the most recent person to run a 4-minute mile. Please welcome Amanda Paris. No? If that's you, you're running the wrong direction. No? That's cool. We will come back. I will check it later. Maybe this person will show up. Now I got to do 2 of these in a row. Our next reader once ran from here to Chicago in 2 hours flat, and then walked back later that day. Please welcome Daniel J. Flossie. Daniel.
Might have to steal that one. First time in the per room.
Cool.
Place.
Yeah, man.
All right, I got a couple for you. This one is blank. It was at Moline Public Library. Tried to memorize it, and I did, but I don't think I can get it. All right, blank. It's definitely been revised a couple of times. Wake to the dream of people. Engineering people on the peopling planet. These seams in the compost bag seem to be ripping. What else denies the truth of itself? What else denies with flooded size it's useless? Unless it's evolved from microdose streams, then there's me, a hesitant eye in way over my head. Laying on the floor beneath this great electric tidal wave, begging for more. What else can't I see? Daniel J. Flossie follows his childhood memories into the grave, folds into the ripple of earth. Blink. The next one is actually going to be out in my chapbook in 2023 with Bullshit Lit.
Yeah.
It is from an argument my wife and I got into, and she was kind of shocked at what I said, and I was kind of shocked at her shock. So this is an elegy for a past argument and a future self. This is for Carly. When I said I want to be compost, what I meant was I want to look into your living room as the rhododendron. I really didn't mean to put the image of my chopped up body being turned in a steaming pile in your head. I was thinking of you growing onions and jalapenos. I was thinking of you growing cilantro and tomatoes to make this year's salsa. I was thinking of you raking your fingers through damp earth and knowing me as worm castings and kitchen clippings. I didn't mean for you to have to think of me as dead or squared away in a box, struggling to remain separate from everyone else. I don't want to be some kind of savior. This isn't some kind of sacrifice. I want to be useful. You could use me to start a walnut tree. The great grandkids could make a canoe. I'm sorry it hurt when I told you I want to be compost. What I meant was, I don't want to leave you holding only some base. I know traditions are hard to let go. I don't want to be thought of as someone who spent their life and unable to stop the world from its turning. As someone who spent their life being ironed out, letting time endlessly slip by, who was not there even when they were nearby, or as someone whose potential energy was spent habitually on the next best thing.
Give it up one more time for Daniel. Yeah, congrats on Chaplin. That's very cool. What press was that?
Bullshit lit.
Bullshit lit. Okay, all right, that's good enough. Yeah, I can check that out. Very cool. That's awesome. More of that, more books, more poetry. Our next reader was the first person to learn for a fact where in the world Carmen Sandiego was. Please welcome D. Rob.
Wow, I feel like I'm on greatness here.
Yeah.
Sarah assured me that no one has been booed off the stage yet.
No. No.
I'll start with the poem that is on display, even though it's been revised at least 3 times since I submitted it to them. So, the name of it is Cottonwood. There's a very large tree in our backyard that in early summer sends thousands of these little useless little tiny cottony junk everywhere, and I'm always watching it fly by when I'm sitting working. And I work with kids, and as I was watching these little snowy seeds fly by the window, I got to thinking about some of the foster children in our school. So this is Cottonwood. In June, the Cottonwood pushes her downy clothed children into the world. Her structured genetics embroidered on their soft white coats. Nature's fickle whim takes them on paths unknown, their purpose beholden, heavy with the burden of the future. Seeking stability, desperate, they grasp for contact, a place to call their own, perhaps a patterned window glass or the raspy wooden edge of a pasture fence. But falling, soon give up, swallowed in the shorn grass of summer backyard, drowned in the murky blue of a garden hose puddle, or lost in the sodden fur of the dog, sleeping on the wide front stairs. Fostered children they are, struggling, lonely, angry, cold, never taking root, never truly finding their own. In the second poem, I introduce you to Tomas. He's a 6-year-old Congolese boy who comes to the US with his father and his older brother. So as you might expect, he's very sad. There's a lot of struggles that they are going through, not only as immigrants, but also trying to be new American citizens. He was very reticent to learn English, and then eventually we found out that he didn't want to learn English because he wanted to be able to speak to his mom when she came. So he was afraid of losing his French. So this is called Losing Her Face. Cold, his little boy body slumps against the hardness of his American desk. A faceless drawing of his mother, flat beneath his African hands, reaches out. But this version of her, almost perfect, is as far away as the language he struggles to learn. Not long ago, in the dead of night, he and his father fled Kinshasa amidst gunshots and screams and the thud of soldiers' boots. His anguished mother, her belly heavy, clutched at the doorway of their home. Her frantic whispers urged, "Go now, be quick." And although he carries the memory of her voice, he is forgetting her face. Thank you. On Saturday, I will accept a first place adult fiction prize from the Big Right in Galesburg at the Fall of Fire Right. So it's gonna be
No, it's cool. No apologies. It was
It
beautiful.
was good.
It's
Mom
just like,
did
it's a
get here.
lot.
Mom did get here with a new baby.
Hey, yeah, right, that is beautiful, that's extra beautiful. And I gotta say, like, because my mom is in the back, Cottonwoods, so we have a Cottonwood, my mom still lives in the house that I grew up in. Hi, Mom, I know you're back there somewhere, hey, okay, you moved up, I can actually see what's going on. Yeah, give her my mom. So she still lives in the house that I grew up in, forever ago. And there's a huge cottonwood tree in our ravine, and it's kind of her nemesis. She's got a pool, and it's just, it's a whole cottony, snowy bunch of terribleness. But beautiful also. So sorry. Canadian there for that. My apologies. Okay, and yeah, more good news. That's so awesome. Our next reader, who will also have good news, holds the world record for most consecutive backflips executed in an hour. Please welcome Melissa Conway.
Hello. The first one I'm going to read is called Call Me. It's the one that's currently on display. Okay. Call me Rubbermaid. Talk to me like a container. Call me your airtight Tupperware sweetheart. Write me a letter and mail it to the kitchen cupboard. I promise I'll be there, waiting in nothing but my clear plastic polycarbonate recyclableness. See me, always searching for my square bright blue lid, or trying on the red round ones just for fun. Baby, you can call me freshness saver. Call me technologically advanced CRISPR. Sweetie, can you talk to me like I'm a molded plastic to-go container? Call me reusable, resealable. Call me Pyrex. Be honest with yourself. Call me temporary placeholder. But don't call me yours. Don't tell me that it's not okay to have emptier days. Don't say it's on me to keep you fed. If you're gonna call me, just call me lover. Or call me fuck up, but you can just call me better. Call me Ziploc locking dust. Call me lemon peels. Baby, just call me and call me right. That's 815-579-8260. Thank you. And this next one is called My iPhone Ran Out of Memory Last Weekend in March. As you can see, it is in a book. The book is called Sundog. Thank you. So if you like this poem, you can find some. I have some back here, and there are also some at the table at the Midwest Reading Center. Ryan and Sarah were nice enough to have some back there, so you can pick one up. And if you don't like it, there are also a lot of poems that are very different than it. So maybe take it up and see what you like. All right. I tapped through photos and videos, trying to suss out what's expendable. I don't recognize myself in old photos anymore. I make eye contact with this flicker-faced moonbeam with my nose, my clothes, asymmetrical reeling, the blue floral shirt I wore to every party. There's a girl I called a friend for a long time, but I can't remember what her voice sounded like, calling out through late-night parking lots, all flannel and history books. The ring has gone away. She's still here, still smiling in the afterglow of a screen. I can't place the moments I was living in. The bars and basements, X's and class projects graded over. Who is that? And why do I have an itching deep underneath my scalp, like if I could just scratch it? I'd remember who I could have been. Is this what it's like to go off the deep end? I haven't stopped to look down yet. I am so worried I roadrunnered myself, that the earth is rising. I have a half-life I can't break away from. I'm living so microscopically that gravity can't touch me. There are memories here, caught and begging to be broken again and again, shattered screen, charged pinging until the scar tissue stops healing over. How long can I break before splintering feels like a good compromise? The oldest picture I have on my phone is a selfie I took with my middle school best friend. We were waiting in line outside of a haunted corn maze, steeped in anticipation for the future. A moment of abundance, plucked for safekeeping just 8 years before he died. I pierced through the cartilage of my left ear last night. I can't let this one heal. Thank you.
Yeah. Give it one more time for Melissa. Our next reader, every 3 years, on the third day, in the third month, our next reader has the power to levitate high over the trees and flies around all over the city of Cottonwood. Please welcome Emily Tobin.
Having fun.
Yeah, thanks.
No, that would be great. Yeah, that's not really been my experience. Both of mine are on my phone, sorry. Yeah, no, 2 days before my birthday, that would be handy.
Yeah.
Anytime, it would be good. No, usually, I don't get a microphone for this. Usually everybody looking back at me is a 7th or 8th grader. So this is different. This is, you're more awake, I would say. Although they mostly pay attention. I talk a lot about murder when I go to see them. So I've got a couple, I'm gonna save the one I submitted for second. But this first one, something, just working on this spray, kind of got some stuff percolating in my head. When a voice is raised in the empty air of early morning, I think of how the world is like a blur, and I squint to try and hear better, thinking I can convert the noise into some sound that makes sense. Not even words, just a coherent bellow, rage or furious resignation at having to get up for work or be anywhere out of bed on a soporific morning when spring isn't really spring yet. Lately, I'm tired no matter how much I sleep, and I worry that this could be a permanent development. But nothing else lasts, so why would this? The only thing that really persists is entropy in all its eventual finality. And then, oh yeah, okay. I have to change to Google Docs, sorry. That is for the one I submitted, and it is called, oh, Google, I don't want to hear from you today. It's already told me lots of fun things today. No, this one's called Four Animals in April. The vultures have returned, ironically an omen of rebirth. They ride thermals, circle and swoop, and eventually land on the water tower to conduct important avian business. The robins have arrived too, busy on every block, seeking worms and fodder for new nests, plump and smug at having survived another winter. Raccoons aren't as common, but sometimes driving home at night, I'll see one enter a sewer grate. They have a whole subterranean society, and that one is hurrying below to pay tribute to their queen. Whenever a fox appears, usually to cross the road in front of me, I think of how someday the timing won't be right. But today it is. We'll both get home. Thank you.
Yeah. Keep going, Gremlin. Here, like it's gonna be like awake, but like squirrely in my experience. Like, woo.
I just talk until they fall asleep.
You counteract the squirrel. So you see, I teach undergrads, and more of the sleepy time. Yeah, more sleepy time.
Eventually they not.
I mean, they're busy. They're doing the college life thing. Thank you. Our next reader is the most recent person to have summited Everest without the assistance of oxygen. Please welcome Sarah Brock.
Hello. So I'll read the poem that is displayed first, and hopefully I wrote this right because each stanza is actually a haiku. It is called Withering Sympathies.
Yeah.
To forgive, forget, is to love a rose after its thorn makes you bleed. To leave it behind is to let it learn to grow and thrive on its own. To let it wither is to let nature take its course and be finished. Will it take root in the ground that is remaining? Will the pricked hand care? Will it blossom in bundles of rich, soft blushes, tempting hands once more? Will it sadly stay stuck, the scarred hand happy to have nothing from it? Next poem is actually a song. I asked permission to do this.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yo.
might be a little long, but and actually I wrote this when I was angry because I'm upset at a friend that turns out he's not who I thought he was. He's kind of a creep. And basically, it's one of those things where in his past, his mom had to testify in court for reasons that her husband was faithful and her faith never wavered in him. And so I kind of did this as kind of a way to honor her faith and his dad, but then I'm also thinking that nobody's gonna ever say that about him. So it's a little bit spiteful too. But yeah, this I kind of started writing it. I kind of got music in my head with it, and I was a choir kid, so I kind of think of spirituals, and because of his mom, it's called Testify. When I'm pushed down, would you stand up for me? Would you cut the lies that bind them, set them free? Would you freely walk on the stage and place your hand on something holy and testify how in my love you believe? When they release the floods of doubt, would you stand strong? Would you call out liars, tell them they were wrong? Would you make atheists pray, make the souls feel overcome by your song? Would you preach how I was faithful all along? Don't wanna love and die, what I'm all about. I want a lover who shines about the fire I provide and can't live without. When someone by my side who has arrived, I will make sure my loyalty and love won't be denied. Who will stand above you all and testify? Will the children know our love through the years? If they see me cry, will they see you wipe my tears? Will they feel safe and secure? Will they never have to fear of our love fading away to disappear? I hope the children love as deeply as we do. Hope that when they love, they're loyal and stay true. I hope the faith will never shake. I hope the times ahead that they pull through, testifying about a love known just like you. Don't wanna love it or doubt what I'm all about. I want a lover who shouts about the fire I provide and can't live without. Someone by my side who, after I die, will make sure my loyalty and love won't be denied. Who will stand above you all and testify. So testify. So raise your hands, praise the world if you got real love by your side. Stand up and shout, stand up and fight for your love. It's right tonight. I want a love will stand up for me and testify. Oh, when everything is broken, dead and gone, gone, gone. It's your love that carries me through to the dawn. On the mountain I will stand and die with peace, with the knowledge that our love had never ceased. To the ones out there who still pray for a love that real, that sure, that sweet, you will find yourself for them and be complete. Don't wanna love it or die what I'm all about. I want a lover who shouts about the fire I provide and can't live without. Someone by my side who, after I die, will make sure my loyalty and love won't be denied. Who will stand above you all and testify. So testify. So testify. Raise your hands, praise the world if you got real love by your side. Stand up and shout, stand up and fight for your love like it's on trial tonight. I want a love will stand up for me and testify. I want a love will stand up for me and testify.
All right, so you give it up again. All right. Oh, you just do that. And then people say thank you. And you can take it from there. That was super rad. Thank you very much. Well, good time to do. Is Amanda Paris here? Let me show up. Did Amanda show up? I won't leave my way. I'm looking at you and Beth. You're in charge of this. No? So nothing? Okay. If there is, I don't know, just gesticulate, wave your arms, or breathe other. Yeah, cool. Gotcha. Thanks. And thanks again. Yeah, that is hard to do. Like that is like I play drums. I'm also a musician, and like, oof, wow, that is okay. That's kind of party. Our next reader lives in an underwater lair in the underground aquifer in Moline, Illinois. Please welcome Tate Lewis.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me okay if I keep my mask on? Like this?
Good to go.
Awesome. My name is Kate Lewis Carroll. I am the poetry editor of the Aquatio Review, and my debut full length is coming out in January from Finishing Line Press. What's left? And both of my poems tonight are from that book, so plug. So I'll start with the one that is on display, and that is called His Iowa Friends. His Iowa Friends. After the funeral, after our friends and family shuffled dully down the line to take our hands, after brewing a fresh, stale pot of coffee, after the playlist had repeated again, they barged into the room laughing like foghorns shaking awake a sleepy town. Although I'd never met them before, I recognized their weight rocking from bad knee to worse knee, how they crossed and recrossed their arms. Sorry. How they leaned away to check their watches and the exits, 1 foot already out the door. They came that afternoon to say goodbye, but none made it past hello. Tea times, ex-wives, go Hawks, or I don't know. We never talked about that. We're not chicks. That familiar discomfort with conversation heavier than ash. And this last piece I'll read is actually the titular poem of my book, so it is also called What's Left. Hint, hint, the name of my book. What's left? My father left his eyes, some framed in wood and glass, some spilled into boxes with his clothes, flight manuals, metal figurines, meditations on frosted pine trees. What else besides perfect? Others refuse enough. Cities aren't that big. Hills still surround them. Snow falls on mountains and my lips. If I had a peaceful heart, it would look like this. Sharks are born swimming. Birds are born singing. We are born dying. Thank you.
One more time, take. Congratulations on the book.
I know.
That's very cool. We'll have to do like a finishing line.
Yeah.
Reading sometime. We'll figure it out. We'll do that another time when we're not doing this. Okay. Man, it's stretching. Our next reader recently was among only the 3rd group of human beings ever to make a successful descent to the Challenger Deep, which is the lowest known point in the ocean in the Marianas Trench. You all don't know Challenger Deep. Yeah. Last person who did it was a noted filmmaker, James Cameron. Our next reader is Philip Goldbar Sturt.
Once again, Ryan, I have no idea how you're so accurate, but actually, my mom actually did go down on submersibles and have a little shot glass at home. That's that was a 16-ounce styrofoam cup when it started, and then the seafloor washed it down to the size of a shot glass.
Yeah.
So, highly recommend if you have the opportunity to do that. All right, I've got 2 poems for you that are going to be very, very similar. Because when I was preparing for this, I realized that I have a tendency to write sonnets about putting dairy products into hot drinks. So we've got 2 of those. One of them is a poem that is submitted for the National Poetry Month. It's titled "The Only Simple Pleasure," which is an Oscar Wilde quote. My mother's bag has barely touched the cup. The water has no color, I can see, and yet it is already rising up to be discarded almost instantly. My father's tea would nearly be the same, except that he forgets it for a while and sips a stronger cup in seeming shame, since weakness is my parents' drinking style. My wife, by contrast, lets her tea bag steep a year at least before she dares to drink. The cup she sips is lovely, dark, and deep, and could be used, if she had need, as ink. But to my taste, they are of but one ilk, for I alone will drown my tea in milk. The second one is called Little Lies, and it appeared in Coffee People Zine number 12, which is actually really hard to get because they only publish in print, and I have no idea how to get one. But Little Lies. I told the cashier no room for cream, then turned around and poured in half and half. As I turned, I heard a muted scream she tried to play off as a strangled laugh. She didn't meet my eye. I grabbed a lid and felt the trickle of hot coffee slide over the lip. She watched me as I did. I grabbed a napkin too and vainly tried to mop up what poured over. Silently, she slid around the counter as I fled, without a word or further glance at me. She flung a towel on the drips that spread before the table where I stood could stain. I sipped and watched her through the window pane.
Do it one more time for Philip. That's pretty amazing. Wow. I did not know that. Our next reader was the original stunt double for Uma Thurman in the Kill Bill movies. Please welcome Melissa Estes. Melissa. Sorry. It's okay. It's okay. Probably safer though.
Well, I was saying I saw this almost last on the list and moved initially, and now I've seen all these talented, funny people up here. First. This poem is the one that I submitted. It's called Atmospherics. Horses make me cry. Not the ones standing in stalls or pastures or walking in a line nose to tail. It's the ones running, ears back, tail streaming, legs stretching forward, pulling away. Running is remembering. I just realized I wasn't talking in there. Oh my God, here.
If you want to run back,
Can you forget her? Should I start
yeah.
again?
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. No worries.
All right, one more time.
Yeah.
Atmospherics. Horses make me cry. Not the ones standing in stalls or pastures or walking in a line nose to tail. It's the ones running, ears back, tail streaming, legs stretching forward, pulling away. Running is remembering. Listening to NPR, now Greenfield Voice reported Przewalski's horse is the feral descendant of a species domesticated over 5,500 years ago. Long ago escapees like mustangs. Nell and her source, an archaeologist, are sad too. Discovering what was lost isn't nearly as satisfying as finding what's wild. My husband says zebras aren't domesticated. Not the same, I tell him. You can't break what refuses to love you. What's never known caught doesn't know free. Not in the deep way that Marx bones. That was my husband's favorite song.
Yeah.
It's called Origins. Every day with chemotherapy, we walk outdoors. We enter forests, walk trails, look for artifacts and streams, and travel underground to explore caves, all while the chemotherapy hunts and kills. Our rooted feet, walking in tandem, are war drums. Thank you.
Yeah.
Get it one more time from Melissa. Still no? No? Okay. All right. I just don't want to, no one gets left behind. I won't leave anybody out. I feel like it'd be more than I usually do. Anyway. 2 readers left. How are we doing? Good? Ready for this? Take little known fact about our next reader. They are the long lost great grandniece of Abraham Lincoln. Please welcome Andrea Augustine.
Hi, everybody. This is my first time reading.
Yeah.
So the backstory of my poems is a couple years ago, I started playing D&D.
Yeah.
So now I've gone down that rabbit hole, and I'm doing a series of poems about the monster manual and all the monsters and mythical creatures. Hell yeah! The first one's called Doppelganger. It is monstrous, not knowing if the people surrounding you are truth or lie. We all wear masks, but theirs is so complete. No string or eye hole can be seen. No way to pick them out of an unsuspecting crowd. They walk around wearing a face and a body that you would come to trust, seeming to be safe until they're ready to steal what they want. Your riches, or your secrets, or your very body to become parent to their monstrous progeny. Then you are left, bereft, while they slip away unnoticed to yet again become someone new. That is up at the library right now. It's called Gollum and His Two Hearts. 1. We are made of clay given life by the work of a great magician. Our being brewed from the secret formulation of base elements in magic and their giant cauldron of creation. After a time of great stirring and mixing of elements, we gained consciousness. We climbed out of their fiery cauldron, fully formed. 2. We are made of homo materials, but from our clay construction imbued with spirit, we pilot the heavy hulk of our bodies as best we can to the tasks our maker sets us. However, clay is a weak vessel, easy to damage, wear down with time. But even with irrevocable damage cracks our bodies open, our bound elemental spirit is finally freed to merge back into the earth in which it came.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it one more time for Andrea. And poetry connection. Like that's a thing, and like that's out there. Like I don't know if you've like looked at. Oh yeah, for sure. I can't. It's not a book of poems, but there's a really fantastic poet who also runs a press called Black Ocean. Like I think bar none, one of the best poetry presses in this country and probably several others. His name's Jonica Stuckey, and he just contributed to a book about D&D. It's really a thing, and I've seen people. So like you are participating in like an excellent tradition. So like keep going and look for some of that stuff. For real, yeah, it's a thing. So as someone who has not played D&D in a very very long time, but like still recognizes that it's very cool. Yeah. So like yeah, go check it out. Cool. Fun. Last reader feels heavy. Our final reader tonight. Rephrase. Sorry. When our final reader of the evening speaks to trees, the trees speak back. Please welcome Hannah Rose Showalter.
I really wish that was cool. That would make me like a much cooler person. But
I mean,
so I'm going to read the one that's on display second. This is one that I've been working on for the past 2 months for my final portfolio for one of my classes. So this is basically just me using everyone in the room to try and get an A. But it's called Listen, this clinic is not scary. There are no bees in the walls. Your blood will not be taken, and you will not leave with a neat band-aid on your upper arm. The chair will not swallow you up, even though you wish it would, and its arms will not hold you, even though you wish it would. The therapist will ask you questions, and you will watch her mouth open and close like a fish hungry for the sea while you gasp for the air to give her the answers. Not the correct ones, just the ones she is looking for. The painting in the corner of the room is crooked, and you will imagine yourself thinking so hard that you can write the corners, turn the lopsided smile of it into a cool and collected straight line. You will imagine yourself having the kind of brain that could be capable of that.
Yeah.
Going on display. It's called Lucky. It's about my best friend because I think you should write more poems about your friends because that like makes you cool.
Yeah.
It's called Lucky. Here, the roads are too narrow to fit more than one car. We have rolled the windows down and the summer air is beating against our faces. You are going 80 and a 50 and I'm pretending it doesn't make me anxious. I'm pretending I haven't thought of every specific way this could end poorly. Despite the way that we could turn one corner into an unsuspecting pickup truck, despite the way we could roll off the side of this hill, I cannot stop feeling lucky. You are always asking me for a poem, but you are asking me for something I'm not good enough to give you. I will instead tell you that I do not think I will ever be lonely again, as long as there is this. I will tell you that the word friendship didn't exist before us. I look at you next to me, laughing and screaming and forgetting how to drive a car, and I know that I'll never write you anything good enough. Thank you.
Yeah. Give it up one more time for Hannah. The best poems, like the best poems that we write, and I think the best poems that anybody writes, like the people that other people write, are almost invariably poems that we write about our friends and people that we love. Like whether they're here with us, whether they're no longer with us and they're somewhere else, whatever it is, like I always find it to be true. Like it's a thing. So like your friend should be very stoked for that. It's beautiful. What a perfect way to close this reading. Please give it up one more time for all of our terrific readers. For all the people who read for the first time tonight. Yeah, keep writing. Those of you who don't write poems, start. Dig it. Try, not for anybody else, for you. Like if you want to show them to other people, that's cool. I think that's like people get whingy about, oh, writing, I don't want people to see my stuff. They don't have to. The only way you're gonna see your stuff is if you let them. You don't have to. You can just keep it for yourself and do that thing for you. There's all kinds of a lot of good things come from that. So check it out. If you've never written a poem, maybe go home and write one for the first time. Yeah, cool. Thank you again for everyone for being here and for supporting poetry in the community. If you want more information about the Writing Center, if you want to check out some of the awesome books that we have from our press and from other people, please come back, check them out, check out some of the broadsides. If you're interested in getting involved with the Writing Center, if you're interested in becoming a member of the Writing Center, something like that, that's a cool thing to do. Now is like the best time of year to do that. How many people have heard of Birdies for Charity? Do people know what Birdies for Charity is? Some people know. Birdies for Charity is this cool thing that happens with the John Deere Classic Golf Tournament, where if you make a donation to your local charity or anything like that, they match it with like a 5 to 10% bonus. So your money goes farther. So if you want to become a member, now is a really good time to do that. You can do that through Birdies, and it'll help us even more than it would normally, which is a lot. So check that out. Come ask us about that and all the cool stuff we got going on. And definitely check out all the cool things that Vostok has going on. Give it up one more time for Ben. And it's so special. Check out their shows. There's so much amazing music and performance and just all the good things coming here. Get some drinks, get some food, get home safe. Thank you all so much. We'll see you at the next cool thing that we do. Bye, Candido. Thanks, everybody. It worked. I can't, yeah, that worked most of the time. I'm kind of shocked. Can't believe that. There were a couple, there were more of them, so right? I'm feeling like mildly paranoid. I should have bet on some basketball games. This is my chance. Thank you so much.
So I make my son once a year.
It gets better every time.
Yeah, I guess I don't do it. I literally, I don't know, it's literally
You seem very tall. If you read your second poem, very much in your feelings.
I hate that.
Well, you never know when it's going to creep up on you.
Yeah. So this is a larger book, or this is
Magnolia, the first poem I read is this journal, It's an online journal, so you can just go there and read. The other one isn't published anywhere, but I do have a chapbook coming out. It takes forever. So it'll be pre-orders. I think we're supposed to begin in like October, and then it will be out in February. So there's like a long wait, and I'll announce things when it comes out and all of that. Yeah, I was really glad about it. It's we've got the same press. Finishing my press.
Yeah.
Congratulations, that's good. What's it called? What's left?
What's left?
Okay, I was going to take a note of
And you have a chapbook?
Chapbook coming out in February in basics.
Basics.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like derail that, but yeah, we should do a finishing my press reading for sure.
You know, I would be I would be really interested to hear your experience with finishing press.
I have, this is my first time with them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts so far?
No, this is my first time.
Okay.
But I don't know. I've had a lot of not good experiences.
Yeah, I feel like our communication kind of sucks.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I waited 10 months to get my contract.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
I didn't wait that long. It was like 2 months, I think, but I had to reach out to multiple people to get it.
Yeah.
And then I
I don't know, I ended up like submit all your materials, and I'm like, can someone like confirm that you have everything you need?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we think so. I'm like, what is going on?
Okay, I'm glad it's not just me.
No, it's not just you. I mean, I'm not glad for either one of us, but also glad it's not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not great.
It's not great. It's not a great like first experience.
No, I'm hopeful that once it gets closer to like the time, then it'll feel like it's coming together better. But
Yeah. Maybe once you get the book in hand too.
right.
Yeah. It'll be worth it.
No.
But I was accepted for a chapbook at first, and then they said I should expand it to a full length.
Oh, okay.
And so they gave me like a month to do so. And so then I was like, yeah, which I mean, so it was originally a full length, but then I condensed it just for them. But so then, I said, well, the old poems aren't where I want them, and I want to write some new ones. And it also includes, it's all about my dad and his death, and he was a nature photographer, and it includes some color pictures, which is really cool. And so I was trying to write more poems about that kind of stuff. So I, sent them to them and said, hey, like, I'm open to suggestions, ideas. What do you think? And I got nothing back. And then I got a one-word approved. Like, so I mean, I guess it's a compliment.
But it doesn't feel like
it. Doesn't feel like
it. It doesn't feel like, I don't know. I wish there was more like a personal, like, show that you care about the work that you're.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And I work for a press too, and
Okay.
so like I'm working on books, and it's just constant back and forth, and we're on like Zooms talking about each poem, and that's kind of what I expected. It's just not.
It's not like that at all. Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
I guess
the book will be great though. The book is great. It just needs to go through the process and then get in our hands.
So you said February for yours, right?
February for mine. Yeah, pre-orders they said for October.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know why it takes so long. You're not like communicating with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, October it'll go on sale, and then February. This is January.
Yeah. So September, November.
Okay. So
invasive. Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna keep on my Lewis Carroll.
Yep.
I will look that up and make sure that I got videos to find out.
And that's my Instagram too. Just
Okay. I got it on Instagram.
Okay.
But I started on Facebook like when Facebook came out, and I hate it, but it's what I've had my whole life. I never wanted to know anything else. I'm like, I don't want any more of this. So
yeah.
So I'm kind of don't really do social. I feel like maybe I should, but I just don't want to.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. So it's really good to meet you. Yeah. But you read really well too. You had it so like down. I feel like that's. I never like memorized it. Like I could have been to do it, but yeah.
I got a little nervous, but.
No, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.